Hey, this is Grant. Welcome back to Smoov. In this video, I'll be guiding you through a simple full body stretch that's going to balance out the front and back sides of your body. And this is where I find most imbalances show up for people. And these can manifest in some different symptoms. If I've got a misalignment between my rib cage and pelvis here, well, my hamstrings might always be at a lengthened state. And with that, I'm gonna feel hamstring tightness. If I'm always tucked under, I might feel a lot of squeezing through the glutes or a lot of tightness back here. Maybe that's compressing some stuff back here. And then maybe some excessive tension or tightness through the quads. The same thing goes for working through the upper body. So if I'm rounded all the time, maybe I'm feeling some excessive upper back lengthening and stretch here. And so I'm having some strain in that particular position. And if I'm overextended here, maybe I'm putting some excessive pressure on my lower back. We'll also go through a lateral stretch that's gonna open up a lot of stuff through the arms and the side body. So if you have any imbalances there, we'll address those. A couple of things before we get started. I recommend doing this on a mat or some sort of padding, especially if sitting on the ground like this puts a lot of pressure on your knees. And then have a block handy for the lateral line stretch. You may need it, you may not, but it's nice to have it, especially if that position is a little tough for you to get into. We're gonna start in this tall kneeling position. I'm gonna go with fist width apart between my knees. If you need to go a little bit wider, that's fine. I'm gonna drive the tops of the feet into the ground so I get some nice engagement through the lower body. Place the hands at the front of the hips, and I'm gonna start by hinging back through the hips, feeling that hip crease develop here, feeling that stretch and lengthening through the backside of my body. And once I reach the bottom or the back of my hinge here, I'm gonna start to tuck the pelvis under, and now I'm feeling shortening in the back, and that length starts to come through the quads. So I'm lengthening, but I'm also loading the quads. So I hinge back, can take as much time as I need to get back here, and then tuck the pelvis under a little bit more dynamic as you're coming up through and rolling up through the spine. You can find a little bit of that glute squeeze there. And then when we hinge back, we feel those glutes open and lengthen. Tucking under, you're gonna feel the glutes come under, those hamstrings start to shorten. That length is coming to the quads, and then we're up. So I like to do this, especially if my quads get super tight, because we're having this imbalance between our quads and our hamstrings. So if I can get those hamstrings working to pull me up, that can be really helpful in balancing out the front and back sides of the body. There's been a lot of focus on the lower body, but making sure with that tuck under, we're feeling that opening through the upper body. Let's get 2 more of these. Last one. All right, cool. So again, if that's tough on the front of your knee, you can double up your mat, you can find a rug or a carpet that has a little bit more padding. For this next movement, have that block handy. We're gonna set up in this half kneeling position, and we're gonna start by rocking back into the hips. So we're having a little bit more load through this back leg. I'm then going to sweep that same side hand out to the side in line with the knee, and then reach the top arm over. Okay, so if this position is tough for you to get into, you would simply have that block right here. So again, I'm rocking back into the hips. I place that hand down, and then I'm reaching over the top. And I wanna make sure I'm not drifting forward here. I'm keeping that weight through this back leg. So once I'm in this position, I'm going to start to rotate and spiral towards the ground. And with this, I'm feeling more closing in the front side of the body and more opening in the back side of the body. And then from there, I'm going to spiral open and reach. And then come back through that nice and slowly. And you might notice some movement through the pelvis. That's fine. One thing I like with this is keeping this knee out. So, not necessarily out, but just in place. So when I rotate here, there's some nice stretch through the side body, through the lower back. And we're inhaling as we open. Exhaling as we come over. And let's get one more down here. We'll finish squaring up through the center. And then we're going to switch sides. So if you need that block, bring it over to the other side. I'm going to bring that right leg up now. Just make sure you switch sides. I don't know if I specified which leg. So same thing, I'm going to hinge those hips back. Find that loading through the back side. Feel a little stretch in the hamstring here too. Hand comes down in line with the knee. I'm gonna reach that arm over top and then exhale. Feeling that rotation, that spiral. Inhale, opening up. As you're going through this, you might run into some really sticky spots, some spots that it's maybe tough to breathe into or breathe through. Do your best to continue to feel that breath percolate through your body. Going a little bit quicker on this side, so finding that tempo that works for you. Awesome, let's finish down on the ground, passing through center. Great work. Okay, so just checking in, taking a few breaths. And then we're gonna come into that kneeling hinge into the spinal roll up. So I hinge those hips back. If it feels better to karate chop the hips, that's fine, right? Finding the back side of the body, tucking the pelvis under, allowing that to roll you up. Just feeling that differential between, okay, lengthening in the back side of the body, more shortening in the front. As you tuck under, now that's gonna go shortening in the back, lengthening in the front. That's what pulls you up. Get one more. So one more thing. We're just gonna flip on over into a glute bridge. Now you can do this for reps, or you can simply go for a hold. But what we're doing here is getting that pulling action through the hamstring to create a little bit more length through the front side of the body. So when I bring my hips up, I'm not just gonna bring them up like that. I'm gonna drive through my feet, a little action of pulling back through the heels, and I'm gonna feel those hamstrings tension to bring my hips up in line. And I'm not trying to overextend here. I'm just getting to a point where that rib cage feels plugged into the pelvis and I'm getting some nice backside activation. And then I'm gonna go ahead and drop back down. You could add a pelvic tilt here, creating some space between the ground and the lower back, and then tucking under, pressing, then lengthening that lower back into the ground as you pull through those hamstrings to bring your hips up. Feel that length through the front side of the body, shortening through the back, and then we reverse that. All right, feel free to shake the legs out. Quick stretch, quick activation between the front and back sides of your body. I hope you're feeling amazing. Let me know how this went for you in the comments below. I know the first time I did this, it was a lot. At the very least, this session provided you with some more awareness and feel between the front and back sides of your body so you can start to navigate those imbalances that you may be experiencing. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Stay smooth.